a Kangaroo Fern production.
A Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate production. Are You Okay is a podcast that talks about anything on emotional, psychological well-being. Kahit ano, basta kayang sagutin, pwede. Andito ang Are You Okay para tulungan kayo at bigyang linaw ang mga bumabagabag sa inyong mga saloobin. Are you okay is a question you can ask somebody, start a chat, and even save a life. Kasama si celebrity psychologist Camille Garcia. Powered by Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate.
Hello, onliners! Are you okay? It's episode 7 and I hope you'll find our topic for this week something interesting. First and foremost, syempre, thank you sa Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate for this opportunity that you have given me. At the same time, I would like to thank Kangaroo Fern Media Lab for helping out in producing this podcast. And alam nyo, they've been helping mga newbies like me for editing and all. Awesome indeed. So, thank you. Okay. Paano ba natin masasabi na sa panahon ngayon, hindi ba tayo napapagod? Lalo na yung mga meetings natin coming, work from home, at the same time nakakaramdam kayo or yung bang parang exhausted kayo dahil kasi you have been listening and at the same time trying to see mga faces virtually sa mga meetings nyo. So, hindi ka nag-iisa. At siguro nadidinig nyo rin itong tinatawag nating Zoom fatigue. So, that's what we're going to discuss this week, Zoom fatigue. Alam niyo ba na dito sa mga pandemyang ito, ano ang nangyayari? Siyempre, may meetings na work from home. So, we're using different platforms wherein we have to see each other, communicate with your companies, with connect with even families and friends through virtual means. So, sabi nila, nagkakaroon daw ng pagkakataon na nakakapagod daw yung ganitong klaseng pangyayari. So, paano kaya yun? Samantalang noon na sinasabi natin na, eto na yung time na magkakaroon ng talagang magiging high-tech tayo when we're able to communicate virtually. And then, ngayon sasabihin nyo, nakakapagod pala. Remember, humans communicate even when they're quiet. So, during an in-person conversation, yung brain natin focuses partly on the words being spoken. But it also derives additional meaning from dozens of non-verbal cues. Katulad ko, mas gugustuhin ko na meron ako nakikitang audience ng face-to-face for reasons na masakit ako kung nakikinig ba sila at hindi ako pumafocus sa isang tao lang. Syempre, tinitignan ko rin yung mga nakikita kong mga nandoon na nakaupo or meron bang natutulog during the time na nagsasalita ako, may kumakain, may nakikipag-usap sa cellphone. So, definitely, all those non-verbal cues will be able to make me na parang sabihin, meron yatang problema dun sa dinidiscuss ko. Pangalawa, meron yatang pagkakataon na kaya sila hindi nakikinig kasi hindi sila interesado dun sa sinasabi ko. And it even comes to a point na pati ako nagdududa kung talagang nakikinig nga sila or
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss an episode by clicking on the subscribe button now. This podcast is possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
kaya lang sila nag-a-attend for the sake of attending yung sa mga seminars, webinars, or even mga Zoom meetings. So, dito, parang nagdududa ka na rin kasi syempre pag sa Zoom meetings or any platforms for that matter, hindi mo naman nakikita yung kung ano yung lower part of the body. So, hanggang dito lang. So, definitely, hindi mo alam kung yung paa, nagfi-fidget, or yung tinatawag na nagkukuyakoy, or even yung mga kamay, hindi mo alam kung nagtatap sila ng ng table at naiinis doon sa ginagawa mo, or just parang wala silang pakialam. And then it even comes to a point na parang iniisip mo na wala lang, dead ma lang, at makikita mo na bigla magpapatay ng video at sasabihin naka-audio lang sila. For somebody who's really dependent on non-verbal cues like me, it can be a big drain not to have them. Mean to say, parang yung prolonged eye contact has become the strongest facial cue eh. If yung, parang sabihin mo pag nakita mo yung audience na ganun, okay lang eh, parang nakita mo, nakikinig. But then remember, yung iba nasa monitor lang, yung iba nasa cellphone lang. Okay lang kung personal computer mo, medyo malaki-laki yung monitor, nakikita mo lahat. But then, you have to look to the screen kung talagang meron bang pagkakataon na nakikinig sila, or talagang baka mamaya picture lang nila yung nandoon. So, multi-person screens magnify the exhausting problem. Yung gallery viewer, all meeting participants appear to be parang, alam mo yung naalala niyo yung Brady Bunch na movie, di ba? Lahat sila parang nasa mga squares na gano'n. Parang it challenges our central vision. Kasi noon tayo, kahit na nakikita natin peripheral, kung ano yung nangyayari sa gilid natin. So it makes us more parang able to discuss kung ano man yung mga gusto nating ibig sabihin during the time ng mga meetings or even sa mga conversation. So by contrast, nakikita nyo itong pag-shift natin from yung face-to-face na pakikipag-usap, we shift to video calls. It has been a boom. And for a lot of people, nagkakaroon talaga ng difficulty within a person when they exchange yung mga kanilang mga sinasabi. And sometimes you feel na parang autistic ka. Kasi parang you become overwhelmed dahil sabay-sabay yung mga tao na nagsasalita. Lalo na pag iba during classes na kahit sinabi na ng teacher na you have to mute para naman isa-isa lang yung magsasalita. Pero it comes to a point na lahat nagsasalita. So, kung ikaw, parang there's this tendency na talagang you keep quiet, tapos hindi ka nalang tumitingin dahil kasi naguguluhan ka dun sa masyado mong maraming nadidinig. So, definitely, itong pag-boom ng mga meetings and different platforms, hindi lang naman Zoom siya. Merong StreamYard, Streamlabs, Blue Jeans, Discord, na ang alam lang natin before, yung sa Messenger, may mga chat rooms doon, tapos merong Skype, ngayon sumobra na ang dami. And then each, itong sabihin na natin, way wherein we're able to have this meeting can really make us yung sabihin na natin parang nakakapagod pala all this time. So bakit? Bakit ka mapapagod? Bakit nagkakaroon ng Zoom fatigue? Bakit umaabot tayo sa punto na we feel so uncomfortable and it makes us so exhausting? Or sabihin na natin talagang pagkatapos ng one meeting to the other, mas pagod ka pa kaysa yung nag-opisina ka. Or not even yung pag-opisina, pero how you'll be able to celebrate certain occasions na sasabihin, mag-Zoom meeting tayo. Dahil kasi para kahit paano magkita tayo to be able to connect. And yet, siguro kung isang beses lang, pwede natin sabihin na okay tayo. Pero yung paulit-ulit na talagang gumagamit ka ng ganitong klaseng app, it sometimes make you feel so disconnected after all. Kasi yung brain mo parang can take only so much. First, we need to refocus our brain, especially kung sabihin na natin na nagkakaroon tayo ng fatigue. So, is there such a thing na napapagod ang ating isipan? Oo, meron. Dahil kasi, kumisan, alam niyo, sa sobrang dami ng input, ng knowledge, ng information na pumapasok sa atin, we cannot readily absorb those things. So, parang to be able to analyze, introspect, and reflect everything that happened for the day, nakakasakit ng ulo, di ba? So, ano ba nangyayari? We are already exhausted dahil kasi yung dito sa pandemya na to. So, we have communication issues. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Parang tayo, it's so difficult na yung tayo nga, pag nakipag-usap tayo face-to-face, hindi naman natin talaga.
So you want to start a podcast? Or perhaps you've already started one, but you're still unclear on how you can actually make this podcasting work. No worries. That's why we're here for you. We are Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate, powered by Kangaroo Fern Media Lab. Join our network. Contact us at info@kangaroofern.com because we're stronger together.
We're not that mindful after all na talagang how we'll be able to talk nang may kausap tayo. Pero yung bang pag sa video chat na, we have to exert a lot of effort para sa ganun mag-project tayo kung ano talaga yung emosyon na gusto nating sabihin. Like, halimbawa ngayon, yung facial expression ko, syempre, kinakailangan sabay din ng tono ko at may pitch. Hindi ako pwede magsalita ng ganito lang na, alam nyo, ganito ang dapat natin gawin kasi hindi tayo Pag ganun yung monotonous yung sound na maririnig nung kausap mo, syempre, it will para exude na, ay, hindi, nakakabagot naman itong kausap. If you feel like parang so bored and uninterested. So definitely affected ang pitch, ang tone, ang volume, and then ang problema, ang nakikita nyo, mukha lang, so hindi nyo nakikita yung body language. So definitely yung facial expression is something na more intense. Dahil kasi para sa ganun, mas maiintindihan syempre ng kausap mo kung ano talaga yung pinoproject mong emosyon. Bakit ito importante? Syempre importante ito dahil kasi yun yung way for you to be able to know if you're really connecting with this particular person or a group of people, lalo na sa mga meetings. In face-to-face meeting, we're able to read yung isang tingin ka lang, ganon. Left to right, makikita mo. Tapos yung merong audience na nakita mo yung behavior nila accordingly. Pero you can imagine also na parang ano yung pumapasok sa utak nila habang ikaw nagsasalita. Pero pag sa mga ganitong meetings, yung mga Zoom meetings na yan na sinasabi, kung 50 yung tao na nakikita mo sa monitor, hindi mo alam sa sobrang liliit ng mga nakita mong pictures nila, you have to analyze each and every one kung talagang they are listening or not. So talagang there is this problem within communication na you feel like you're disconnected. Next, pag ano yung another problem na talagang it keeps on rising, yung technical errors na talagang lalo na dito sa Pilipinas na alam nyong napakahina ng ating mga internet connections, yung mga Wi-Fi connections nga, talagang makita mo sa mga social media accounts na nagpo-post sila, lahat ng mga services inaaway na yata ng netizens for reasons na kasi ang pangit ng signal, ang bagal ng internet connections, tapos yung Wi-Fi hindi nag-ooperate, parang palaging wala. Bakit gano'n na wala yung internet connections? And then it comes a point na ang ganda-ganda na nung usapan nyo, biglang all of a sudden, makaka-experience kayo na yung device nyo, hindi ko alam kung may problema ba yung cellphone ko, yung gadget ko, or yung mismo yung talagang connection. And then sometimes, yung bang tipo na nagka-crash dahil sa sobrang nangyayari, yung conferencing platform na to, definitely nagkaroon ng system error. And so, it's so difficult dahil kasi, lalo na kung importante yung pinag-usapan nyo, kung project presentation and everything, all of a sudden, nag-crash yung meeting, ang hirap ulitin, ang hirap na talagang you're so prepared and then definitely parang nasira yung pamamaraan mo na prepared ka, tapos all of a sudden, and then pwede ka magkaroon ng panic attack because of that. So, definitely experiencing technical errors and not knowing how you will be able to fix it can distract us even more. And then, syempre, umi-increase yung ating stress. At yun yung nakakalungkot doon. Dahil kasi parang, ayoko nang mag-present uli kasi ganyan nga yung nangyari. Di ba? Umaabot tayo sa gano'n. So, another thing na talaga nagiging problema na, ewan ko ha, among women siguro to, yung vanity measures. Kasi, since it's a virtual meeting, you don't have to get ready, right? Pero, ang nangyayari, it turns out you actually do have, at least for, sabi ko nga sa mga babae, ayaw namin na mukhang sabukod kami, yung mukhang sasabihin natin na, hala, because of the pandemic, lalo na iba na talagang may white hair and everything, nakikita nila dito. So, parang, ay, ayoko muna makipagkita sa Zoom meeting kasi puti na yung buhok ko, tsaka yung suot ko, ganito, hindi ako nakakapag-makeup. Unlike when you do face-to-face meetings, halimbawa kung Zoom party man yan, parang, ay kung yung talagang face-to-face party, ang tendency, parang, alam mo kaagad magbibihis ka. Pero pag sa Zoom party, parang nandun yung negative yung motivation, may end drive. Tapos all of a sudden, nagulat kami, nakabihis. So, ganun. So, parang nagmamadali ka. You really wanted to look good. Kahit na sabihin nyo ang nakikita hanggang dito lang. We very quickly found out that you can't get away with the home quarantine look. Dahil kasi hindi naman pwede. Kahit nga sa mga estudyante at sa mga online classes, we encourage, at the same time we tell the students and the pupils na at least naka-uniform, be presentable, at kahit pa paano, hindi naman yung kung ano lang yung suot. Maaaring sabihin natin from waist down, baka naka-shorts lang yan, or kung minsan naka-pajama pa, pero at least they make it a point na from head hanggang dito sa chest level, ayos na ayos. Kung sakasakali man nandito kayo sa mga ganitong klaseng Zoom meetings. So, itong nakikita nating mga problemang ito, it is so difficult in the sense na parang nawawala rin yung balanse natin. Dahil kasi it turns out na our homes become our workspaces, and our workspaces are our homes. So, yung kumisan, yung bang meron tayong pagkakataon na yung hindi na natin nababalanse kung ano yung kung ano ba yung dapat, kasi sometimes yung mga trabaho natin, hindi ko alam kung yung bang pag online natin, it is supposed to be something for work or for social purposes. But definitely, you should create a balance on how you'll be able to make it a point na ang function ng mga meetings na to is both for work and for pleasure activities to get connected with other people. While virtually we connect with friends and family, it can be also sabihin na natin overwhelming, dahil kasi parang we ask yourself the question, ito bang Zoom meeting na to ay mas maigi ba kaysa sana mag-email na lang, yung parang gano'n kung merong mga gagawin. Dahil kasi ang dami, di ba, no, halos lahat pag tinanong, naalala ko from school or even in meetings, if you have questions isulat nyo sa chat box. Ayan, nadinig ko yung word na yan, chat box. Pag mag-chat box ka, kung steady yung phone mo, tapos kailangan mong maisulat, it is so difficult na, siguro sa akin, for reasons na yung edad ko na rin. Pero for kids, siguro coming up with sentences na kailangang isagot sa teacher and then putting it sa chat box, medyo mahirap. Unless the answer that is being called for is multiple choice, okay lang na you write A, B, C, or D, or numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Pero yung para sabihin mo na to complete a sentence or what is the answer dito sa question na to, and then you're supposed to write at least a sentence or two, it is really difficult. And it can really entail exhaustion. At the same time, yung bang parang ayaw mong gumalaw na. Dahil kasi parang, ano ba to? Parang naguguluhan na rin ako. Dahil kasi unahan ba ng pag-send ng message sa chat box ang nangyayari? So, eto na. Nagkakaroon talaga tayo ng pagkakataon na we become disinterested, nawawala yung energy natin, just like any other na fatigue issues. Parang there is this possibility na nabe-burn out tayo. Parang we really wanted to detach from
We are Independent Podcast Network. We are Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate. Would you like to hear your brand while supporting quality podcasts? Contact us now at advertise@guerrillapodcastsyndicate.com.
what is supposed to be happening. Kaya ang nangyayari, kung minsan magugulat ka na lang, merong naka-audio lang, walang video. And then kung minsan sasabihin mo, nakikinig nga ba talaga to? Samantalang, or nandun ba talaga yung tao na nakikinig supposedly sa meeting na to? Or kaya nagpatay ito ng video dahil kasi wala dun yung tao, pero kunyari nakikinig. So those things really happens, at wag kayo magkaila na nagagawa niyo yan. And it seems like it's a bad news na parang, ano ba to? Ganito na lang ba talaga ang mangyayari? But then definitely, you don't have to be despair about what is happening. We have parang tips also wherein we can make these video calls to be less exhausting. So ano ba yung dapat nating i-avoid para hindi tayo magkaroon ng sympathy? First, siguro, we have to avoid multitasking. Why? It's easy to think that you can use this opportunity to be more, sabihin na natin, ay, mabilis yung magiging trabaho natin because less time ang mangyayari dahil lahat nagagampanan natin kahit na hindi na tayo pumunta sa office, nakakapag-attend tayo ng meeting, kahit hindi kayo nagkikita, makikita mo virtually yung mga kaibigan mo because parang ang bilis na you'll be able to connect with them. But remember, there are certain parts of your brain off and on, or the different types wherein nagsuswitch yan. So, ibig sabihin, may time na talagang ito lang yung kaya ng brain mo, ito lang yung kaya na i-absorb na mga activities. So, definitely, hindi pa pwede na sunod-sunod na talagang sa isang araw, you have to attend at least mga 5 to 8 Zoom meetings. Remember, it's just like watching TV kung hindi ka sanay. It's just like, parang sa sobrang panonood mo, nagkakaroon ng eye strain. At the same time, ito rin yung pagkakataon na you put your phone away at least for certain minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, you have to rest. Bakit? Dahil kasi, ang mangyayari nga kasi, hindi lang siya eye strain. Kung hindi, parang pagod na pagod din yung isipan mo to absorb ka ano man yung nakita mo na information. In fact, kahit sa mga telenovela, sa mga Korean novelas, try to look into yung mga 30 minutes or 45 minutes na mga serye. Ang naka-allot for the commercial gaps, actually 20 minutes. So talaga 20 to 25 minutes lang yung mga drama series. Kaya nga, you anticipate na kailangan mapanood ko bukas yung susunod dito sa teleserye na to or sa K-pop, sa K-novela na to. Dahil kasi, nakita nyo, hindi ganun karami yung pinalalabas. Mabilis yung pacing, pero dahil sa commercial, 20 to 25 minutes lang talaga yung nangyayari talaga sa episode for the day. So, you also have to make it a point to avoid multitasking para sa ganun, hindi rin talaga yung kung ano-ano yung mag-create ka na pagod ka dahil kasi, ay, mag-attend pa ako ng ganito, attend ako ng ganito, ganyan. Diba? Next, you have to make it a point to build in breaks. When you build in breaks, itong mga mini breaks na to, especially during longer calls, diba, it minimizes yung sasabihin natin na yung ayaw ka or sasabihin mo o mag-excuse ka. Pero pwede naman sabihin mo, teka, sandali lang ha. Ganon. Para sa ganon, yung mga breaks na yun will be able to help you out na parang breather. Na lalo na if yung kailangan you do something personal, hindi ka yung talagang magpipigil. At the same time, you'll be able to more or less make enough time to make you move around a bit. Kasi ang hirap naman na isang oras ka na tapos nakaupo ka lang doon, nakatingin ka doon, hindi ka makatayo-tayo. Pero pwede naman kasi na habang nanonood kayo doon sa video na yun, tumayo-tayo kayo. Okay? Kung 1 hour or more na video call yan, make it a point na to tell people to turn off their cameras for part of the call. Parang sasabihin natin na, oy, nadidistract na may yung connecting video ko, tingnan mo, hindi ko masyado na nakikita na kayo, parang choppy, o kaya masabihin nyo na ako, nalulobat na ako. But it doesn't follow na nababastos yung ginagawa nyo. Reduce on-screen stimuli. So, ano ibig sabihin yun? That you tend to spend the most time gazing at your own face. Iba kasi parang tingin ng tingin kung talagang maayos yung contour ng itsura nila, and then parang you keep hiding yourself from the view na parang o kaya naman talagang gumagawa kayo ng pagkakataon na talagang naka-profile lang yung picture or yung face nyo pagdating sa ganyan. Still, when you are on screen, do not allow na magkaroon ng distractions beyond yourself. Kasi you may be surprised to learn na we're not only focused on other faces, but on their backgrounds as well. Kaya nga, kung minsan, iba, alam ko sa mga Zoom meetings, nagpapalit ng background para to make them parang their talk more interesting, or kaya naman kahit papaano, they make it a point na talagang lively yung discussion. At the same time, merong mga ginagawang na movements so that yung on-screen talagang focus na enticing and something interesting. You can see their furnitures. Mas maganda na may hindi yung ganitong blank lang. Siguro naman sa laki kong ito, mukha naman akong malaking background. At the same time with this colored scarf, at least hindi ako magkamukha nitong wall ko at saka yung damit ko. Make yourself more or less something na talagang enticing also to your audience. So, ano pang dapat? Make virtual social events opt-in. Bakit? Dahil kasi, syempre, people may be asking a lot of questions and then make it clear in what order people should speak. Kaya dapat yung, kumbaga sa nakaayos talaga. Hindi yung lahat sabay-sabay nagsasalita. Lahat parang hindi ka naman makasabi na pwede quiet muna. Kahit paulit-ulit pa, kumisan you cannot try to figure out kung ano yung nangyayari, when we should parang talk, or when will you be given the chance to talk. Kasi hindi ka naman pa pwede magsabi na ako na yung magsasalita. At least there should be this host na talagang who will be able to moderate para sa ganon, itong virtual social events na mangyayari, hindi yung labo-labo ang dating. So, kung sakasakali may time naman na hindi kinakailangan everything will be done on a Zoom meeting. It can be done phone calls or even email. Para sa ganon, hindi yung palagi kayong napapagod sa kakaisip. So, definitely pwede naman yung, do you mind if okay lang na email na lang, o kaya tawag muna ako sa iyo para at least maintindihan natin by the time na hindi ganun na sobrang nagkakaroon ng lull yung video calls nyo. And then for external calls, avoid defaulting to video, especially if you don't know each other well. Siyempre, pag hindi mo kilala yung tao, ang hirap naman na mag-video call ka, or sasabihin mo may ka-Zoom meeting ka na hindi mo kilala, because the more na yung possibility na yung tendency na yung conversation nyo biglang mapapahinto, dahil kasi tapos at the same time nakita mo siya, parang you tend to lose yung possibility of confidence, or kaya naman parang lalo kang kakabahan. So make it a point na yung pagdating yung magdi-default ng video, not all the time, not unless siguro kilala mo yung kausap mo. Remember, some of these tips might be hard to follow at first, pero it will be able to help you na yung mga ganitong pagkakataon, hindi talaga yung mapagod kayo dahil sa kaka-attend ng meeting. It's so difficult dahil kasi sabihin na natin na may time na you wait for a long period of time bago ka papasukin dun sa na yon, dun sa room, sa chat room. But definitely, it will come to a point na mawawala din naman tong Zoom fatigue na to. Bakit siya mawawala? Kasi ang mangyayari, it will be a regular thing. It will be something na magiging phase lang itong parang napapagod tayo. But it doesn't follow na talagang pag napagod kayo, hihinto na kayo. Because remember, being part of the new normal, kasama na itong mga Zoom meetings na to, kasama itong mga different platforms wherein you'll be able to talk virtually at the same time, mga video calls nyo. Sabi nga nila, meron ng mga bagong mga ganitong klaseng apps na talagang it will lessen the Zoom fatigue na sinasabi. And I hope you'll be able to cope with what is happening because definitely we Filipinos are very resilient. So hanggang dito na lang po. Thank you so much. Sa susunod, episode 8 na tayo, meaning to say nakakadalawang buwan na tayo. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to visit our website at www.GUERRILLAPodcastSyndicate.com where you can subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. You can also join the conversation with Guerrillas RV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please consider on making a donation to help us keep making the podcast you love. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. A Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate production.